Hi, PaolaJo from SederQuilts. For those of you who've been thinking about Art and Stitch, or you've been thinking about the ProStitcher Designer and you just haven't started using that, or you haven't purchased those, fear not. If you have ProStitcher Premium, you can do a lot of designing right on the regular program without any of those extra bells and whistles and programs to learn. I do 99% of my designing and changing and editing right on ProStitcher. And oftentimes I do it kind of on the fly. For example, I was stitching along, everything was going wonderfully, and then suddenly it didn't look good. I haven't taken time to learn the other programs well enough or to remember what I did learn when I used it the last time, and I don't have time to wait for a service text. So anyway, there are still oodles of good options of how I can fix this by using ProStitcher and the basic functions to make it look wonderful. Yeah, so here, let me show you a few things. I have a beautiful design from Christy Dillon that I am using, and as I stitched it out, I sometimes have trouble with bubbles. Serpentine two-part circles don't track well on my machine. The design is perfect. There's no problem with the design, but on my machine, sometimes, especially if this line of pearls is in a vertical layout, they don't track well. And there are a number of reasons why this can happen, but I just need to make an adjustment on my machine. But let me explain to you a little bit about design. When stitching out several circles in a row, you can either use a serpentine two-part system, or you can make individual circles and keep connecting them. Actually, you do a circle and a half with each one. But if your serpentine lines don't match up exactly, they don't look like circles. They look like really cool waves, but they don't look like circles. Part of the reason in deciding which type to use is whether or not you want to go from point A to point B and keep it going, or if you want to go from point A to point B and then back to point A again. So, and there are ways, even with the connected circles, full circles, to travel back to point A by using a little echo or a travel back line, and that works really well. So let me repeat, in my case, the designs are fine. It's just that my machine is not stitching out really nicely right now. Horizontal bubbles stitch out beautifully. It's just the vertical ones that I'm having trouble with. So we have a few options, and let's go over the list. So a lot of people are talking a lot about using design programs lately, and you can take a design into one of these other programs and you can fix it and change it and alter it quite a bit. And that is usually an option. But you have to enjoy computer work. In my case, I probably need a service call. I either need to do it myself or have somebody come in and probably level my frame again or adjust the vertical track. And actually, I think that's the problem. But who has time to do that right now? I'm too busy, probably you too. So the other options are we can use our basic PSP functions and we can modify the design. We can replace the serpentine curves with the ProStitcher loops, the 1.5 loop circles, or we could just crop away those serpentine lines and do free motion bubbles. I oftentimes find that the free motion and ProStitcher combos are the quickest, the easiest, and the most forgiving for lots of reasons. At least for me. If you don't want to do any free motion, you could still crop away those portions and then reposition and squish them together so that there's no extra space there. That would work too. I knew that this part was going to stitch out beautifully, but once I started getting to the bubbles, they weren't stitching out, so I just stopped. I took the design over to the side and I did some work with just the basic functions of ProStitcher to crop away the portions I didn't want and then merge the design back together the way I wanted it. And I now have the same block to workspace here. I have now created some different portions of this and I have put back together so that I can easily stitch out everything except the bubbles, and I can do the bubbles in free motion. Within ProStitcher,
Modify means to change. When you use the options underneath modify, you can do so much to change your designs and design things in there. Even without using any additional programs, you can do so much, whether it's just a single design that you're making a few little tweaks on, or if you are trying to design the entire layout, the whole plan for a quilt top. You can do this by using the basic functions of ProStitcher, and I can help you learn that. Once you've made all your changes and edits to the block, you can save it. You actually baseline, rename, and save it to your USB stick, and then it's just like any other digital design. I have several classes over on our website, SederQuilts.com, to show you how to crop and how to crop with a creative area and how to crop and merge with the start and end points. So if you need any help with those things, we can help you with that. The other thing that I really like to use is Sketch. It's a drawing app for your photos, and you can color code things and you can write notes on there and you can change it, you can save it to your photos, but it helps me plan and figure out what it is I want to do in free motion and then stitch it out. Yeah, very helpful.
So as I've oftentimes said, if you can use ProStitcher as just one of your many tools, it's just like rulers and templates and marking things different ways. You can do a lot of your editing on ProStitcher Premium, and if you do a little bit of free motion, you can really do a nice job. Because, you know, if my bubbles are going to look, if my pearls are going to look like that from the computer, I can easily make, even if I'm not real good at making bubbles, I can make a strand of bubbles in between, free motion, and still be better than what this is going to look like. So if we can find the happy medium of what's the best I can do with my free motion or what's the worst I can do with my free motion, and consider what's the best I can do and the worst I can do with my ProStitcher, and find the happy medium of both, yeah, you can do this. Come take some classes from me, PaolaJo at SederQuilts.com. Toodaloo, see you later.
Thanks for watching. Toodaloo.